One of the characteristics of European style carving, in other words a style that I use and what I'm going to show you, is that we have two hands on the carving tool at all times, unless of course I'm using a mallet. What it means is that however you hold the tool, it's the tool that does the moving and it's the wood that stays still. So that's a rule. Your wood, it must be held stationary. Now on this website there are all sorts of options that I'll show you for that, and I'll put notes in the download. Also, it's not just the wood and how you hold it that has to remain still, but the bench or the table on which you're working has to remain still. And that usually means that the bench is sturdy, it's not going to move about, it's usually quite solid. But you can work this pattern, what we're doing here, on your kitchen table. Which brings me to one other issue, which you need to pay attention to the height at which you're carving. If it's too low, you'll end up with backache, and you need to be able to carve comfortably. Again, there's some notes in the download about that, so you need to think about where you're carving the table on which you're working. Here's my piece of wood that I'm going to carve. It's held onto this board here, which is a piece of MDF or plywood, any sort of size. And I've fixed it to the board with this fence of strips of wood all the way around. At the top edge here, I've used a couple of wedges. I've actually made wedges into the fence here so that that holds nice and firm. I can pull this out and turn it around. Now if you don't have the means of making wedges, doesn't matter, you can just get any old strip of wood and jam it in there. It just means it's a little bit trickier getting it out. So there's my board nicely that I'm going to carve, nicely held to this one, and this is held to the bench by this underlay for a rug or for a carpet. This is a non-slip underlay. It's particularly sort of sticky, and what happens is when this is on there, it's absolutely nicely jammed. You can use a router mat, you can get these from woodworking supplies, but a good bit of carpet underlay when it's pressed will do the job quite nicely. So non-slip mat here, bit of board there, a fence around our working wood.